Hello, it's Leslie Fightmaster, and welcome to day 27. Take a moment here to sit up nice and tall. Bring your hands together in front of your heart, setting your intention for your practice. Or maybe you'll dedicate your practice to someone. And as we set our intention, it's always nice to remember how our yoga practice makes us feel good, but also how it makes our loved ones and those around us also feel good as a result. So we're going to come onto our backs, taking the soles of feet together, knees apart. I have blocks, so I'm going to put them underneath my legs to just give a little bit of lift of the legs so that I'm not stretching tons, because it's early in the practice. And then just as you get settled, begin to take your attention to your breath. Starting your Ujjayi pranayama, breathing in and out through your nose. A little constriction in the back of the throat as you breathe. Today's practice will be a little bit gentler as we will focus more on stretching today. The last few classes we've been kind of taking it up a notch, and I thought maybe a nice stretching class was in order, so hopefully you agree. And as you're here, take a moment to scan your body, just checking from the crown of the head all the way down to the feet, noticing if you come in contact with any tension, let that go. If you have the blocks underneath your legs and you'd like to remove them for the last few breaths and go a little deeper, please do. And then take your hands to the outsides of the legs so you can draw your knees toward each other. And if you have a strap, grab it, taking it to the ball of the right foot. If you don't have a strap, you could use a towel or a belt. Take your right hand to your right hip crease, drawing that right hip forward, and then hold the strap in the right hand. And you can lift it up as much as you like, whatever you're comfortable with. Doesn't have to be straight up and down. The knee can be bent or straight. We're working towards straight, but if there's a little bit of a bend in the knee as you're still warming up, that's okay. We'll just start to lengthen it out as we breathe here. Be sure the left leg is active and the toes point straight up to the ceiling as you gently flex your left ankle. And just check to see that there isn't any tension in the jaw. Now left hand on the left thigh. As you exhale, open the leg to the right. Now the left hip's going to want to pop up, so don't let it. Draw it back down. And it might mean that you don't go in quite so deeply. Then turn and look over the left shoulder, as long as that's okay on your neck. And checking in again with your breath. It's a nice hip opening. And then head back to center. Bring the leg back to center as you inhale. Switch hands with the strap. Start to take yourself into your twist, and then right hand to right hip crease again. Draw that hip forward. And then maybe take it a little deeper into the twist, but just kind of see how it feels. Try and turn your belly up toward the ceiling, looking over the right shoulder, as long as your neck feels okay with that. And twisting has many, many benefits, including benefits for digestion. Also benefits for spine health, kind of like a wringing out the spine. Inhale, bring the leg to center, and exhale, lift the head and shoulders, draw the leg in for a breath or two, and then release it. Extend the right leg next to the left leg, just noticing the difference. Might feel a little bit longer. And then bend the left knee, placing the strap on the ball of the left foot or whatever you're using, and reach up. Hold the strap for a moment in your right hand, and then take your left hand to your left hip crease and draw that hip forward so your hips are more level. And then you can return the strap to the left hand. Check in with the breath. Be sure your right toes point up to the ceiling as you are continuing to keep the right leg active during this stretch. If your leg does straighten the whole way, be sure also to pull up on your kneecap to firm your quadricep muscles. You'll firm your thigh muscles in toward the hamstring muscles, front of the thigh toward the back of the thigh. So bring the right hand onto the right thigh, exhale, open to the left. Once that hip starts to pop up, reground the right hip down and move from there. Look over the right shoulder. So remember, as always, never matters how deeply you get into a stretch. It's just so that you feel a stretch. Once you feel the stretch, you know that the circulation is happening, the blood is moving in, toxins moving out. Relaxing the jaw and the shoulders here. Bring the head to center, inhale back to center, and then exhale to twist. Take your left hand again to that left hip crease, draw it forward, and then start to twist any amount, turning the belly up toward the ceiling, looking over the left shoulder. On this twist, it's okay to roll onto your right hip a little bit and come onto the little toe side of the right foot. It's fine because you're twisted. That hip has to come off the floor. That left hip has to come off the floor as well for the twist. Unless that's too intense in that way. If it is, don't go quite so deeply. Inhale, center. Exhale, draw the leg in. Lift the head and shoulders up for a nice long stretch. And let's release that. You can put the strap off to the side, extend the legs out, and point your toes up to the ceiling so the legs are active, and then place your fingertips on your shoulder heads. Start to make circles with your elbows like you're drawing circles on the ceiling. Start with little circles and then start to make them bigger and bigger gradually until the circles are as big as you can make them. And just warming up the shoulders, getting some movement. Pause where you are, and then start to circle in the other direction. So start like you're drawing little circles, and then make the circles a little bit bigger, and a little bit bigger, until you are at the place where your circles are as big as they're going to get, and just take a few rounds there. And inhale, arms reach overhead, palms face each other. Shoulder blades release away from the ears. And then exhale, circle the arms down and put them by your sides. Bend the knees, roll off to your right side. Pausing just for a moment here. With your left hand, press yourself up. Allow your head to come up last. And then we'll come on to our hands and knees and then stretch back into a child's pose. So we're filming in the street again by our house. There are a couple cars that go by, but it's okay. Stretching the arms out here. Get nice and long through the spine. Take an inhale up onto the knees. Exhale, shift forward, lower all the way down to the belly. Keep the belly lifted. Inhale, small cobra, peel the chest up. All the toenails pressing down. And then exhale to the knees. And back into child's pose. So just a little bit of movement here to warm up the body. Keep the arms extended in front. And we're going to do the same thing again. So inhale up to the knees. Shift the hips forward, but keep the spine long as you lower all the way down to the belly. Keep the belly pulled in. Inhale, little cobra. Pull the hands toward the feet, widen the collarbones. Exhale, press up onto the knees. And then hips back to heels into Balasana, child's pose. Uttita Balasana with the arms extended. Keep the fingers spread nice and wide. Straightening out the arms. Inhale back up onto the knees. Shift forward. Exhale, lower to the belly. And again, inhale to cobra. Pull the shoulder blades toward the waist. Inner thighs spinning up. And then exhale. This time we'll tuck the toes and lift up and back for down dog. And first down dog, just bend one knee and the other, bicycling the legs. Check that your arms are shoulders distance apart and your feet are hips distance. Bend the knees and stretch back. Get nice and long through the spine. If you need to keep a little bend in the knees, that's fine as you lengthen out the spine. Pressing the weight up to the hips, reach it down toward the heels. Inner thighs are spinning back. Be sure the outer edges of the feet are parallel. Come forward back to the knees and now into table with the wrists in front of the shoulders. And now step your right foot up in between the hands. If you've got blocks, if it's difficult to reach the floor, you can put your hands on the blocks. Keep your back toes tucked under. Pull the right hip back. Send the left hip forward. So you'll lean over the front thigh a little bit, hands on the floor or on the blocks. And then as you take your next exhale, straighten out the right leg, come onto the heel, pull the toes back and fold forward. Half splits, half Hanumanasana. Drawing that right hip back again, still sending the left hip forward. And then bend the front knee again, inhaling. Come back into low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Again, sinking the hips, keep the tailbone long. Exhale, straighten the leg and fold over the leg. Hinging from the hips, keep the spine nice and long. You don't have to try and touch your head down to your leg. More reach the belly toward the thigh. Bend the knee again and then step back into your table. Left foot forward, keep the back toes tucked under as you sink forward, making sure the left knee is lined up over the ankle. Hands on the floor or on blocks. Pull the left hip back, drop the tailbone down, and lift your frontal hip points up toward your lower ribs, creating length in the low back. Then inhale, straighten that front leg. Exhale, and hinging from the hip, extend over the leg, stretching out the hamstrings. Next inhale, rebend the left knee. Again, dropping the tailbone down. Pull the left hip back as you sink forward. And then we'll re-straighten that left leg. Ardha Hanumanasana, half splits. Pulling the left hip back so we try to keep the hips level as we extend the torso over the thigh. And now rebend it. Sink the hips forward. And then tuck your back toes, make your way into table again with the wrists in front of the shoulders, and then tuck the toes for down dog. So feel free to bicycle the legs a little bit more if you like. Spread the fingers out nice and wide. Press down into the base of the fingers as your forearms lift up and away from the mat. Arms and ears are in line. Gaze between your knees or your feet. Look to the hands and step your feet all the way up, as many steps as you like. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, hips over the heels, fold forward. Bend the knees a little here as needed. Press down through the feet, rise up, inhale, sweep the arms up. And then exhale, bringing the hands down. And we'll find our Tadasana at the front of the mat. Big toes touching, heels slightly apart or feet hips width. Find equal standing in the feet. So press evenly through the four corners of the feet. Lift up through the arches, firm the leg muscles. Lift your chest and inhale, sweep the arms up, looking up if that's all right with your neck. Exhale, hinge from the hips and fold over the legs. Crown of the head reaching down, bending the knees as needed. If legs are straight though, move the weight forward. Inhale, halfway up. And then exhale, stepping back into plank pose. Knees can be up or down here. Shift forward, exhale, chaturanga, shoulders no lower than elbows. Inhale to cobra or take upward facing dog, thighs and knees up if you're an up dog. And then make your way back into downward facing dog. Just a gentle Surya A. Right leg lifts on the inhale. As you exhale, take it to the outside of the right foot and take the left knee to the floor for lizard pose. Feel free to pad up that back knee if it needs any padding. You can also put your hand or hands on blocks. Or if you want to go a little deeper, your forearms on a block. Some people might reach the forearms to the floor. Feel free to tuck your back toes and lift your back knee off the floor. Otherwise, keep the back knee down. Draw the right hip back and lengthen out through the spine. Your right knee will probably want to drift out to the right. Today, let's keep the right knee drawing in toward the right shoulder and the toes pointed straight ahead. So with that back knee off the floor, it's a pretty intense stretch. So keeping that in mind, come up onto the hands and then step back into downward facing dog again. And now we'll do our left side. So as you're inhaling, left leg up from the inner thigh, let's keep the hips level. Exhale, step it to the outside of the left hand and pull the left hip back. Try and lift up through the right hip. So you can stay right where you are. And you can take your back knee down to the floor and keep it there. You can keep hands on the floor or put your hands on a block, or going deeper, forearms on a block. Or some might even take forearms to the floor. Back knee can be up or down, that's your choice. Be sure though that the left knee is lined up over the ankle and it points over the middle toes. So left knee is going to want to drift out to the left. Keep drawing the knee in toward the left shoulder. Steady breath here and return to the intention that you set or the dedication that you made. And then we'll step back again into downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths here. Keep the belly lifted as you press back. Weight toward the hips and down toward the heels. Inhale, come forward to plank pose. Exhale, lower slowly to the floor. Knees can always be down. Now bring your arms out to a T. So wrists and shoulders about in the same line. We're going to stretch our shoulders. Roll all the way onto the right side of your body. Take your left hand behind your back. See if you can find your right hand back there. Then bend your left knee. Put the left foot onto the floor. Maybe also put the right foot onto the floor. So your legs are like they're in bridge pose, but the hips are on the floor. And the shoulder blades are drawing in toward each other. And you're drawing your top shoulder back. And this will also stretch your chest. Now, if it's too intense, you don't have to hold your hands and you don't have to have both feet down. You can stay right on your side. You don't have to bend either knee, actually. And now we'll roll back onto the belly. And again, arms out to your sides to a T shape. And then we'll roll off to the left side. So you could stay right here on your left side. You could put your right foot flat on the floor, maybe reach back with the right hand, finding the left hand. And then maybe you will bend your left knee and put that left foot onto the floor. And tilting the head just a little bit toward the ceiling slightly. Breathe into those shoulders, allowing your chest to expand. Your shoulder blades to draw in toward each other and down toward the waist. I want to make sure we're avoiding any tension around the upper back and neck. A couple long breaths into the shoulders. And then unroll onto your belly again. And hands by the low ribs. Press all the toenails down. Inhale, press up onto your forearms for Sphinx pose. Elbows right underneath the shoulders, wrists in front of the elbows. Gently draw the elbows back toward the heels, again to widen across the chest. Keep the belly lifted, pulled in, tailbone toward heels to protect your lower back. Outer hips pin in, but don't clench your whole glute area. Maybe a little bit higher if you wish to straighten the arms, but make sure it doesn't hurt your back. So we want to stretch out the front of the body, not compress the back. Lower down, hands by low ribs, press up onto the knees. Sit your hips down to one side, and then come onto your back. Feet hips width apart. I'm going to take a block and have it handy. So grab a block if you have it, and press into the heels, lift up into bridge pose. If possible, roll the shoulders under, and then grab that block, putting it right at the base of the spine. You can put the block at any height. Of course, the higher the block, the more intense of a stretch you'll feel. Make sure to keep spiraling the thighs in toward each other, and be sure your toes don't turn out here as well. You want to keep them parallel. Keep the chin away from the chest. Now your shoulder blades will continue to press up toward your chest to widen across the collarbones again. Option to extend the legs out long. This will make your back bend more intense. So just notice if it bothers your lower back, if it causes compression there, then don't do it. Your inner thighs still have to spin down toward the floor or spin in toward each other. And if your legs are straight, rebend them and lift the legs up toward the ceiling for Viparita Karani. So we've got a block underneath the base of the spine. If you don't have a block, you can always do this without it. Just lift the legs. It's a mild inversion, very calming for the nervous system. This helps us get into the rest and digest phase of our nervous system. Helps us to relax and digest and all those good housekeeping things. Bend the knees, take the feet back to the floor, remove the block, come down, hug the knees into the chest. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but when you slow down, maybe to get a massage or to practice restorative yoga, a lot of times the belly starts making lots of noises. That's your body saying, oh my gosh, here we go. We can just relax and digest our food. Begin to rock back and forth, up and down the spine. Take 2 or 3 rocks to come up and sit. And soles of feet together, knees apart for Baddha Konasana. Feel free to sit up on the edge of a blanket, or if your back is rounded or on a block. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips. So again, creating length. So the belly is coming forward. Instead of bending from the waist and rounding the back, we create length through the spine. And the legs can open any amount. Never matters. And come on up on your inhale. Bring your knees, or bring your feet a little bit further forward and then fold over the legs. This time you can keep your back a little more rounded. Having trouble with my words at the moment. So rounding in this way, you can stretch your lower back. And then come on up. And turning to face the side of the mat if you would like to keep your heels on the mat. Otherwise, you don't have to. Bring your hands behind you and sit up nice and tall. Then right hand to the inside of the right leg. Lift the left arm up. Maybe you'll lift the left arm over in line with the ear, but if you roll forward, it's better to keep the left arm straight up. You may touch the foot with one or both hands. Again, try to spin your bottom ribs forward and roll your top ribs back. So this is a great side bend. And again, go any amount, never matters how deep. Come on up on your inhale. Then we'll take our left hand to the inside of the left leg. Roll the torso open, right arm up. And then you can stay right there or right arm up and over. But if you're rolling forward, keep the right arm up. Again, working on bringing the bottom ribs forward and spinning the top ribs back as you breathe into this nice lateral stretch. Allow softness around the shoulder blades, around the upper spine and the neck and the jaw. Big breaths. Inhale, come on up and sit up nice and tall, hands behind you. You can stay there or begin to walk yourself forward any amount. And again here, instead of allowing your back to round, create length. So hinging again from the hips. Point your toes and your knees up toward the ceiling. Toes have a tendency to turn in here. So if you point them up and pull the toes back, flexing the ankles, that will keep your legs active. And then inhale to come up. And we'll bring the legs together. Turn back to face the front of your mat if you did turn to the side. Make your way onto your back. Take your right ankle just past your left knee. So option one, hold your left shin. Draw your right hip forward. Keep pulling the right toes back. Option two, straighten the left leg, reach down toward the foot, or you can still hold behind the leg, anywhere along the leg. That'll take your stretch deeper into the hip. Keep that right hip drawing forward. Option three, you can use your arms underneath the right leg or wrap them around the right leg and extend the left leg out onto the floor. So this is like, if you're familiar with pigeon pose, this is a pigeon pose upside down. Be sure the left leg stays active. So whatever pose you choose, really just again focus on the breath. Imagine that you are moving breath right into that right hip and allowing it to open. Then draw the right knee into the chest and exhale, take it off to the left for a twist. Look over the right shoulder. Come back to center. And now we'll do the other leg. So left ankle just past the right knee. So you can hold on to the right shin or behind the thigh as option one. And option two, extend that right leg up toward the ceiling. Hold on anywhere along the leg, drawing it toward you. Keep that left hip drawing forward here. And then option three, either bring the elbows underneath the calf or wrap the elbows around the outside of the knee and the foot, reaching the right leg straight down in front of you. Point the right toes up to the ceiling, and that will allow a great stretch in the left hip. You might notice one hip feels tighter than the other, and that's pretty normal. For me, my right hip is tighter, and my left hip is more open. Now draw the left knee into the chest, exhale, take it across to the right side, and look over the left shoulder. Come back to center, hug both knees into the chest, rock gently side to side in Uttanasana. And then we'll prepare for our final resting pose, or Shavasana. Take the feet hips width or wider, let the feet flop open, arms by your sides. Draw your shoulder blades toward the waist, tailbone reaching toward the heels, and then allow everything to just sink right into the floor. Releasing your Ujjayi breathing practice and just coming right into natural breathing. Our quote's a little bit longer today. I'm going to read it now and then I'll give you a little time to yourself. This is a quote by Frederick Buechner. In the entire history of the universe, let alone in your own history, there has never been another day just like today. And there will never be another just like it again. Today is the point to which all your yesterdays have been leading since the hour of your birth. It is the point from which all your tomorrows will proceed until the hour of your death. If you were aware of how precious today is, you could hardly live through it. Unless you are aware of how precious it is, you can hardly be said to be living at all. Begin to make some movements in your fingers and your toes and stretch out through your arms and your legs. Bringing your awareness back, bend the knees, roll yourself off to your right side, pausing for a moment. And then with your left hand, press yourself up to seated. Take a comfortable seat, crossing at the shins, hands together in front of the heart. Let's bring our hands up to the forehead to remind us to have clear and loving thoughts. And our hands to the heart center, reminding us to have clear and loving intentions. Hands to the mouth, reminding us to have clear and loving communications, sending out wonderful energy to all beings everywhere. Namaste. Enjoy your precious day. Don't forget to subscribe and push the like button, leave us a comment. Visit fightmasteryoga.com and join our mailing list. If you happen to be a woman and you would like to come on to a yoga retreat, I'm doing a ladies retreat this March, coming right up March 5th through the 10th off the coast of Cancun, on a little tiny island called Isla Mujeres. Love for you to join us. My email is below. You can email me or go to my website for more information. And if you can afford to donate to Fightmaster Yoga and help us continue our quest of making yoga available to all, please do. Thank you very much.